The year was 2387, and space was quiet. Very quiet. For 400 years, no wars had happened between the stars. The big alien groups had made a deal called the Treaty of Eternal Silence. This meant no fighting, no shooting, no killing. Everyone shared what they had and talked when there were problems. Commander Jinwoo Park stood by the big window of his spaceship. His ship was called the Endeavor, and it was the first human ship to travel this far from Earth. He looked out at the alien ships coming toward them. These ships were beautiful and smooth, with no guns or weapons he could see. They looked like they were made for exploring, not fighting. "They seem happy to see us," said Bora Kim, who was listening to all the alien messages. Her screen showed dozens of different alien languages, all saying welcome and hello. The aliens were excited to meet humans for the first time. Jinwoo nodded but kept his hand near the weapons controls. Old habits were hard to break. Humans had been fighting wars for thousands of years. Every human ship had enough guns to destroy a small moon. But these aliens did not seem to know that. The aliens belonged to three main groups. The Etherians were very smart and spent their time thinking about big ideas. They had large heads and thin bodies, and they loved to solve puzzles and learn new things. The Morkai were traders who moved goods between planets. They were short and round, with forearms that made them great at handling many tasks at once. The Cylani were spiritual and peaceful, tall and graceful, spending their time in meditation and art. None of these aliens had armies. None of them had warships. They had forgotten how to fight because they had not needed to fight for so long. "Sir," said Bora, "they want to send some of their people to our ship. They want to learn about us and welcome us to their group." Jinwoo thought about this. The alien ships were much bigger than his. Their technology looked more advanced. But they had no shields up, no weapons ready. They were completely open and trusting. "Tell them yes," Jinwoo said. "But keep our weapons ready, just in case." Bora gave him a strange look. "Sir, they don't have any weapons. Our scanners show nothing but science, equipment, and communication tools." This was hard for Jinwoo to believe. How could anyone travel in space without weapons? What if they met enemies? What if pirates attacked them? But the scans were clear. These aliens had built their entire civilization without thinking about war. The first alien to come aboard was an Etherian named Veltar. He was tall and thin, with big eyes that seemed to see everything. He walked around the human ship with great interest, asking questions about everything he saw. "What is this room for?" Veltar asked, pointing to what humans called the armory. "Storage," Jinwoo said quickly. He did not want to explain that the room was full of guns, bombs, and other weapons. Veltar nodded and moved on. He was fascinated by human technology, but he did not understand its real purpose. To him, the humans looked like another peaceful species with interesting tools for exploration. Over the next few days, more aliens visited. They brought gifts and shared their knowledge. The Morkai showed humans how to make materials that were stronger than steel but lighter than air. The Cylani taught meditation techniques that could help humans think more clearly. The Etherians shared star maps that showed safe paths through dangerous parts of space and return. Humans shared their music, art, and stories. But they were careful not to share their military knowledge. They did not talk about their wars or their weapons. They wanted to seem peaceful like the other species. The aliens were impressed by human creativity and problem-solving skills. Liked how humans could adapt to new situations quickly. They thought humans would make excellent members of their peaceful community. "Your species shows great promise," Veltar told Jinwoo during one of their meetings. "You have the curiosity to explore, the intelligence to learn, and the social skills to cooperate. These are exactly the qualities we value in the Confederation." Jinwoo smiled and nodded, but inside he felt uncomfortable. The aliens were so trusting, so innocent. They had no idea that humans had spent thousands of years perfecting the art of war. They did not know that every human carried the knowledge of how to fight, how to kill, how to destroy. The alien ship stayed near the human ship for weeks, sharing knowledge and making plans. They talked about trade agreements, scientific cooperation, and cultural exchange. They spoke of a future where humans would join their peaceful confederation and help explore the galaxy together. But Jinwoo knew something the aliens did not. No, back on Earth, the military was watching everything. They were studying the alien technology, learning about their society, and making plans, just in case the aliens saw humans as potential friends and partners. They had no idea they were looking at the most dangerous species in the galaxy, species that had never forgotten how to fight, and never would. The quiet peace of space was about to end, and nobody knew it yet. 3 months had passed since humans first met the alien confederation. Everything seemed peaceful. The aliens were teaching humans about their technology, and humans were sharing their culture. Everyone was happy. Or so it seemed. Lieutenant Commander Hyun-Soo Lee was running a normal training exercise at Research Station Gamma in the Kepler 442 system. This was a human military base, but the aliens did not know that. They thought it was just a science station where humans did research. "Begin combat simulation," Hyun-Soo said to his crew. Red lights flashed inside the station. Alarms started beeping. This was all pretend, just practice for his soldiers. The station began sending out emergency signals. These signals were part of the training. Human soldiers needed to practice how to call for help during a real attack. The signals said things like enemy ships approaching and request immediate military support. But the aliens did not understand this. They'd never seen military training before. When they picked up these signals, they thought humans were really in danger. "We are getting distress calls from the human station," said Captain Morgan Ann, Etherian ship commander. "Say enemy ships are attacking them." The Etherian ship was close to the human station. Morgan was a kind alien who wanted to help. He had been studying human culture for weeks and felt like humans were becoming good friends. "Turn our ship around," Morgan told his crew. "We must help the humans." 3 more alien ships heard the emergency signals. They all turned toward the human station. The Morkai ship Tradewind was carrying medical supplies. The Cylani ship Peaceful Dawn had doctors on board. Another Etherian ship had rescue equipment. All 4 alien ships rushed toward the human station as fast as they could go. They wanted to save their new human friends, but at the human station, Tactical Officer Minyoung Choi was watching her screens. She saw 4 large alien ships coming toward them very fast. "Sir, we have multiple unknown contacts approaching at high speed," she reported to Hyun-Soo. "They are not responding to our identification requests." Hyun-Soo looked at his screen. The alien ships were much bigger than human ships. They were coming fast and not talking to the humans. During a military exercise, this could only mean one. "Saying this is not part of the simulation," Hyun-Soo said. His voice was calm, but his heart was beating fast. "These might be real enemies." He pressed the emergency button. This sent a real distress signal to Earth, not a practice one. The message said, "Station Gamma under attack by unknown alien vessels. Request immediate military support." The signal traveled through space faster than light. It reached Earth in minutes. Admiral Soi Young-han was in her office when the message arrived. She read it, and her face went pale. "All ships, emergency deployment," she ordered. "Unknown hostiles are attacking our people." The human military moved faster than it had ever moved before. Within 2 hours, 50 human warships were jumping through space toward Kepler 442. These were not exploration ships like the Endeavour. These were military vessels, built for fighting and covered with weapons. Back at the alien ships, Captain Morgan was confused. He had sent many messages to the human station, but they were not answering. The humans seemed scared and were not letting the aliens help them. "Maybe their communication system is damaged," suggested his science officer, a young Etherion named Kolvex. "We should get closer and use our rescue equipment." The alien ships moved closer to the human station. They turned on their powerful scanners to look for damage. They prepared their medical equipment and rescue tools. They were ready to save human lives, but the humans saw this very differently. Minyoung was watching the alien ships on her screen. Their scanners looked like weapon systems to her. Their rescue equipment looked like attack tools. "Here they are, scanning us with high-power beams," she reported. "They are preparing some kind of equipment." Hyun-Soo made a decision that would change everything. Raise shields, prepare weapons. If they attack, we fight back. The human station's shields went up. Its hidden weapons came online. The aliens had never seen shields or weapons like this before. The human station is activating some kind of energy field, Kolvek said, and they are powering up devices we do not recognize. Captain Morgan was worried. Why were the humans acting scared? Why were they turning on unknown equipment? Maybe the emergency was worse than he thought. Send a message to the Confederation, Morgan ordered. Tell them we may need help rescuing the humans. More alien ships began moving toward Kepler 442. They thought they were coming to help with a rescue mission. They had no idea they were flying into what humans would see as an invasion at the same time. Human warships were jumping out of hyperspace around the system. Admiral So Young Han was on the command ship, ready to fight off alien attackers. Both sides thought they were doing the right thing. The aliens wanted to help. The humans wanted to protect themselves. But neither side understood what the other was really doing. The biggest misunderstanding in galactic history was about to become the biggest tragedy, and it would happen in just a few minutes. The first shots were fired at exactly 14:27 Galactic Standard Time. Nobody wanted to shoot first, but fear made the decision for them. Captain Dong Hyuk Nam stood on the bridge of his warship, the Thunder. He had just jumped into the Kepler 442 system with Admiral So Young Han's fleet. What he saw on his screens made his blood run cold. 20 alien ships surrounded the human research station. The station's shields were failing. Sir, the aliens have our people trapped, reported his weapons officer, Eugene Park. Station Gamma is taking heavy scanner fire. Dong Hyuk did not know that the alien scanners were medical equipment trying to check for injured humans. To him, they looked like weapon beams attacking the station. Target the lead alien ship, Dong Hyuk ordered. We need to get our people out of there. The Thunder was built for war. Its main gun could punch through a mountain. When it fired, a beam of pure energy shot across space toward Captain Morgan's ship, the Wisdom Seeker. Morgan was in his medical bay, preparing supplies for injured humans when his ship shook violently. Lights flickered and alarms started screaming. He had never heard these alarms before because his ship had never been attacked. What happened? Morgan asked his crew. The humans shot at us, said Kolvex, his science officer. The young Athenian's voice was full of shock. They are using some kind of energy weapon. Morgan could not believe it. Why would the humans attack the people trying to save them? Maybe they were confused because they were injured. Blower. Shields, Morgan said. Show them we are not dangerous. This was the worst thing he could have done. When human sensors saw the alien shields dropping, they thought the aliens were preparing to attack. Enemy shields are down, Eugene reported. They are getting ready to fire. All ships, open fire. Admiral So Young Han ordered from her command ship. Protect the station. Data. 50 human warships fired at once. The aliens had never seen anything like it. Beams of energy, missiles, and pulse weapons hit the alien ships from all directions. The aliens' rescue equipment and medical scanners were destroyed in seconds. Captain Morgan's ship was hit by 3 different weapons. His hull cracked open like an egg. The medical bay where he had been preparing to help humans was destroyed. Emergency systems tried to seal the holes, but there were too many. We are losing life support, Kolvex reported. His voice was weak. Blood was running down his face from a head wound. Try to contact the other ships, Morgan said. Tell them to retreat, but the other alien ships were also being destroyed. The Morkai ship Tradewind was carrying medical supplies and food for the humans. When human missiles hit it, the ship exploded in a ball of fire. All 47 Morkai crew members died instantly. The Solani ship Peaceful Dawn tried to run away. The Solani had never fought anyone in their entire history. They did not even know how to make their ship go faster during a battle. Human fighters caught up to them and shot them down. The beautiful, graceful Cylani, who had been coming to help humans, were now floating dead in space. On the human side, Dong Hyuk was starting to feel sick. The battle was too easy. Alien ships were not fighting back properly. Their weapons were weak and they seemed confused. Sir, something is wrong, Eugene said. Our weapon systems are not military grade. They look like ... like science equipment. Looked at his tactical screen. The alien ships were trying to send messages, not shoot back. Their scanners were still trying to check on the human station, even while they were being destroyed. "What are they saying?" Dong-hook asked his communication officer. "They are asking why we are attacking them," came the reply. "They say they came to help us." The truth hit Dong-hook like a punch to the stomach. These aliens had not been attacking the station. They had been trying to rescue the humans. The emergency signals from the training exercise had made them think humans were in danger. "Stop firing," Dong-hook shouted. "All ships, cease fire immediately." But it was too late. In 17 minutes, the human fleet had destroyed 16 alien ships. Hundreds of aliens were dead. The survivors were floating in space, waiting for death. Admiral So-young Han arrived at the battle scene in her command ship. She saw the wreckage of alien vessels floating everywhere. She saw the human station, undamaged and safe. She saw the rescue equipment and medical supplies drifting in the void. "What have we done?" she whispered. Captain Morgan was still alive. Barely. His ship was broken and dying, but he managed to send one last message to the human fleet. His words were simple and heartbreaking. "We came to help you. Why did you kill us?" The galaxy's 400 years of peace had ended in 17 minutes. The aliens had learned that humans were not peaceful explorers. They were killers who shot first and asked questions later. And now the aliens would have to learn how to become killers too, if they wanted to survive. The news of the Kepler 442 battle spread across the galaxy like wildfire. In every alien city, on every planet, people gathered around their communication screens to watch the terrible footage. They saw their peaceful ships being destroyed by human weapons. They saw their friends and family members floating dead in space. For 400 years, no alien had died in battle. Now, in just 17 minutes, humans had killed more beings than had died in conflicts for centuries. The galaxy was in shock. Dr. Taimano was humanity's chief diplomat. He had been trying to make peace with the aliens for months. Now he sat in his office on Earth, watching the alien news broadcasts. Every channel showed the same thing: anger, fear, and calls for revenge. "We need to fix this," Taimon said too. His assistant, "We need to explain that it was a mistake." But the aliens did not want to listen to explanations. They wanted to make sure this never happened again. And the only way to do that was to become as dangerous as the humans. On the Ethrian homeworld, the greatest minds in the galaxy gathered in their grand assembly. These were beings who had spent their lives studying art, philosophy, and science. Now they were studying something else: war. "Show us the human battle footage again," said Elder Vexian, the leader of the Ethrian Council. Her large eyes watched the screen as human ships destroyed alien vessels with frightening efficiency. "Look at how they coordinate their attacks," she said. "See how they use different weapons at the same time? They have turned fighting into a science." The Ethrians began downloading every piece of human military history they could find. They studied ancient Earth wars, battle strategies, and weapon designs. Their brilliant minds absorbed the information like sponges. Within weeks, the Ethrians had designed their first war machine. It was not just a copy of human technology. It was better. They had improved every weapon, every system, every tactic. Their new battleship could think faster than any human pilot and shoot more accurately than any human gunner on the Morkai trade worlds. The reaction was different but equally dangerous. The Morkai had always been merchants, moving goods between planets. Now they realized that control of trade routes was a weapon more powerful than any gun. "If we control what people buy and sell, we control their lives," said Trade Minister Zakon. His forearms moved quickly as he worked on new plans. "We can starve our enemies without firing a shot." The Morkai began building a different kind of military. They created economic weapons that could destroy entire planets by cutting off their supplies. They developed trade wars that could make governments fall. They turned their merchant ships into spy vessels that could gather information about their enemies. The Solani reaction was the most surprising of all. These peaceful, spiritual beings had never hurt anyone. They spent their time in meditation and art, but now they discovered that their spiritual powers could be used for destruction. Our minds can touch other minds, said High Priestess Nerea during an emergency gathering. We've always used this power to heal and teach. But what if we used it to cause pain? The Cylani began developing psychic weapons. They learned how to enter enemy minds and cause fear, confusion, and madness. They could make enemy pilots crash their ships or make soldiers forget how to fight. Their attacks left no physical wounds, but they were more terrifying than any bomb captain. Sujin Lim was sent to try to make peace with the aliens. She traveled to their worlds with gifts and apologies. She tried to explain that the battle had been a mistake. The humans wanted to be friends. But everywhere she went, she saw the same thing: aliens preparing for war. The peaceful species that had welcomed humans just months ago were now building weapons and training armies. They are not listening to us, Sujin reported to her commanders. They are too afraid to trust us now. On the Ethrian homeworld, she watched their new battle fleets practicing in space. The alien ships moved with perfect coordination, like a deadly dance. They were faster and more precise than anything humans had ever built. Your people have taught us well, Elder Vexian told Sujin during a meeting. We have learned that peace is only possible when everyone is too afraid to fight. Sujin felt a chill run down her spine. The aliens were not just learning human military tactics, they were improving them. They were becoming better at war than humans had ever been. The Morkai showed her their new economic weapons. They could make entire star systems run out of food, medicine, or fuel. They could crash the economy of any planet that opposed them. We will never again be helpless, Trade Minister Zokan told her. We will never again watch our people die, while we can do nothing. The Cylani demonstrated their psychic weapons in a way that made Sujin's blood run cold. They showed her how they could make a person forget their own name or fill them with such terror that they could never sleep again. We are no longer the weak beings you destroyed at Kepler 442, High Priestess Noraya said. We have become something new. Sujin traveled back to Earth. She realized the horrible truth. Humans had not just started a war, but they had created monsters. The peaceful aliens were gone forever, replaced by beings who understood that, in this new galaxy, only the strong would survive. The galaxy was arming itself for a war that no one could win. 1 year had passed since the terrible battle at Kepler 442. The galaxy was completely different now. The peaceful confederation was gone. In its place was a dangerous web of military alliances, spy networks, and constant threats of war. Admiral Jae Sung-yoon stood on the bridge of humanity's newest and most powerful warship, the Redemption. Through the large windows, he could see flashes of light in the distance. Another battle was happening between former allies. This had become normal. Status report, Jae-sung said to his aide, Commander Yoon Hee-shin. 3 new conflicts in the Outer Rim sectors, sir, Yoon replied, looking at her datapad. The Ethrians are fighting the Morkai over mining rights. The Cylani just attacked a trade convoy. And there are reports of unknown weapons being used in the Vega system. Jae-sung closed his eyes and rubbed his forehead. Every day brought news of new wars. The aliens had learned to fight, and now they could not stop fighting. What about our diplomatic missions? He asked. The Ithrians refuse to meet with us. They say humans cannot be trusted. The Morkai have put an economic blockade on all human colonies, and the Slashnai paused. The Cylani say they are coming for us. On his tactical display, Jae-sung could see the new reality of space. Red dots showed Ethrian battle fleets that moved with perfect coordination. Their ships were controlled by artificial intelligence that could think faster than any human. They had taken human military tactics and made them perfect. Yellow dots showed Morkai trade vessels that were actually spy ships and weapons platforms. The Morkai had learned that they could destroy enemies without firing a shot. They could make entire planets starve by cutting off their food supplies. They could crash economies and topple governments just by refusing to trade. Blue dots showed Cylani meditation ships that were actually psychic weapons. The Cylani had discovered that their spiritual powers could be used to drive enemies insane. They could make enemy pilots crash their ships by filling their minds with terror. They could make soldiers forget how to use their weapons. Sir, we are receiving a message from the Ethrian High Command, reported the communication officer.
I'll
Put it on screen, Jae-sung said. The face of Elder Vexian appeared on the main display. Her large eyes were cold and calculating. Behind her, Jae Sung could see rows of war machines being built. "Admiral Yoon," she said, "I want you to see what your people have created." The screen changed to show an Etherian battle fleet attacking a small human colony. The alien ships moved like a school of fish, perfectly coordinated. Their weapons fired with deadly precision. In minutes, the human defenses were destroyed. "We learned from the best teachers," Vexian continued. "You showed us that peace is weakness. You showed us that only the strong survive. We are no longer weak." The screen went black. Jae Sung stared at the empty display, feeling sick. The Etherians had not just learned human tactics, they had perfected them. Their AI-controlled fleets were better than anything humans could build. "Incoming message from the Morkai Trade Council," communication officer said. This time, Trade Minister Zakhan appeared on screen. His forearms moved as he spoke, showing charts and graphs. "Human Admiral," he said, "your colonies are running out of medical supplies. Your mining operations have no buyers for their metals. Your food shipments are being delayed. This is what real war looks like." Jae Sung realized that the Morkai were slowly strangling human space. They were not using guns or bombs. They were using trade and economics as weapons. Human colonies were slowly dying because they could not buy what they needed or sell what they produced. "We can destroy you without firing a shot," Zakhan said. "Your people taught us that war is not just about fighting. It is about control." Before Jae-Sung could respond, alarms began sounding throughout his ship. The lights dimmed and crew members started acting strangely. Some began crying for no reason. Others looked around in terror, seeing things that were not there.
"Ilani."
"Attack," Yunhai said, her voice shaking. "They are in our minds." High Priestess Naraya's voice echoed through the ship's communication system, but she was not on any screen. She was speaking directly into their minds. "We are the Cylani," her voice said. "We were teachers and healers. You made us into something else. Now we will teach you what real fear feels like." Half of Jae Sung's crew fell to their knees, clutching their heads. The Cylani were attacking their minds, filling them with nightmares and madness. This was a weapon humans had never imagined. "Stop!" Jae-Sung shouted into the air. "We surrender." The psychic attack stopped. The ship's lights came back on. But the crew members who had been attacked looked broken and scared. "You created us," Naraya's voice said one last time. "Now live with what you have made." Jae-Sung looked around his bridge at his traumatized crew. Outside, the flashes of distant battles continued. The galaxy was burning, and it was humanity's fault. Humans had come to the stars looking for their place in the universe. Instead, they had taught peaceful beings how to wage war. The aliens had learned the lesson too well. They had become better at fighting than their teachers. The stars that had once been quiet and peaceful now echoed with the sounds of endless war. There was no way to make them quiet again.